Cross country is unique that way, that it's definitely, I think the NCAA lists it as one of the individual sports, but it's really should be a team sport.
Everyone has to do their job, but if all 5 guys don't do their job, then that does it for the team.
One of the things we talk about is no matter how many kids we have on the team, whether it's, you only see 10 on that day, but the guys' team's roster is probably 26 or 27 that run really cross country. And we always talk about the 27th guy pushing the 26th guy, pushing the 25th guy all the way up the ladder and to make a good team. And that's really one of the things that we really impress upon all the kids is that everybody's important. Everybody has to push everybody to be better.
So Gary, he's very family oriented. I feel like he's, as much as you can get a very serious coach, Gary's more laid back. I think he's serious on race day, but, he's very accommodating with, the stresses of being a D1 college athlete.
He's not generally someone that anyone is intimidated of. I don't mean that in the wrong way. Everyone respects him, everyone takes him serious, but everyone's comfortable around him, everyone likes him, and I think that's a reason that people want to respect him and want to listen to what he says.
He builds terrific camaraderie. If you've ever been in his office on just an average day of the week, and you've got numerous athletes in there, there's give and take, there's humor.
It's something that the kids, I think from the support staff and from our staff, the kids feel valued. And kids will perform well for you in the classroom and on the athletic field if they feel valued. And I think they feel valued by our athletic director, our deputy athletic director, all the way down the line, I think they feel valued.
The other thing I would say, I think Gary's been, over the years, absolutely terrific at identifying talent.
I think one of the things that we look for is kids that want to be here. I think as I've become more seasoned, maybe we won't say old, that I've realized that you can get a kid that's not as talented as, another recruit, and you can bring them in. And if they really want to be here and buy into your team, into your program, that you're actually going to get more out of them.
Gary just saw my coach at a gas station in Amesbury, that's where I'm from, and basically just said, you won't find this guy, anywhere. He runs some decent times, but, given the right training, I think he can run something.
He asked me, what do you want to accomplish, or what are your goals? Because I felt like a lot of coaches that I spoke to were kind of throwing, this is what I want you to do, this is what I can imagine, and it was kind of overwhelming, but they kind of took a step back.
Given the caliber of high school athletes that he's given, I think he's one of the best coaches in the NCAA.
It's about the culture that has grown around the program. That culture, I think, nurtures athletes and helps them to become the best they can be.
The men had already competed pretty well by that point and had won a conference championship, but really getting the women to believe that they could compete for a conference championship probably was the hardest part. I think if you have that mindset, you can overcome a lot of different things if you think you're going to win or you should win. I think the hardest part is actually winning the first one. I think the biggest thing that stood out is just how dedicated the kids were getting their work done from, when we closed down to COVID until all the way up till, they came back in January.
Yeah, I think I remember we all got shovels and we were trying to get lane 1 through 4 cleared before practice. And so, everybody in the team would hop on, grab a shovel, and we would just get it done. So those girls who were part of the championship kind of set the bar for the rest of UMass Lowell history here, because now that's the expectation and there's nothing less. We want to win the conference championship every year now, not just settle for the years that we won in the past. I think we were a lot more confident that second year, and I just think all of that build up from COVID, not being able to practice with each other, not being able to compete at all these meets. Once we had that chance to compete, everyone was out there for each other. And I think the girls, that didn't make the team or, were borderline, seeing us win that, championship kind of set the precedent, hey, they know this is legit, we have the capability of winning a conference championship, and, from now on, this is the goal.
Yeah, that was a fun championship, and the fun part about that championship too is, down in New Jersey, we weren't allowed to have fans, and we weren't allowed to have people there. At UNH, it felt like a home meet. Their entire track team showed up. We had 110 kids just from our team. And if you look at the videos of that finish on the football field at UNH, it was 90% UMass Lowell. I think the men probably knew coming into the year that they were going to be the favorites, and had really high expectations for themselves to win.
I think situations like those kind of make you rise to the next occasion, though, because you really have everything to lose. All the other teams in the conference, we've got a target on our back, and we're defending the title, and that's just every more reason for us to stay focused.
The women definitely had to believe that they could win, especially going into some meets and getting beat by other teams during the year.
There's going to be competition all the day, everybody's hungry for it, and I think, we've won 2 championships, but that doesn't mean anything when you step on that line on that day.
They had convinced themselves that they could win, and getting in there and performing on that day didn't seem like a big deal if the expectations are you can win.
John finished first, and I was right behind, and then looking back at the finish line, seeing the next guy come in and so on, it's a crazy moment.
Well, the men's race was more of relief. You enjoy it probably afterwards, but when it happens, it's just relief that, okay, we did what we were supposed to do, we won, let's kind of get on to the women. And the women, that one was not relief, that one was definitely excitement to win both individual championships and both team championships. I think made it extra sweet.
John and I, we finished 1-2, but it took the entire roster that day to kind of pull out the win.
It's much easier to give up on yourself when you don't have other people relying on you. We would not have run as fast as we did if we didn't have each other the whole race.
I'd probably say just the camaraderie, the team's kind of what gets me going. It's not a very flashy sport. A lot of people wouldn't envy the position that we're in, going out. The amount of sacrifices we have to make to our schedule, again, in our doubles almost every day, getting all the miles, but it's a hell of a lot easier when you got your teammates going out with you.
Yeah, I think us being so close makes us that much better of a team. And I think not a lot of teams have what we have.
It's tough sometimes. You got to keep at it. You got to be persistent, and it's kind of like life. Just teaches you to not, when things don't go your way, you can't just fold. You can't just give up.
If you're going off of our last course for conference, there's lots of ups and downs, and I think that if you just stay persistent and just focus up and relax and just know that you get through the rough patch, you'll get to that easier area of life. Nothing in life is easy without working with others. So I think a lot of what we got from cross country is very applicable to life.
Well, from just a personal standpoint, watching over the years these people that have competed in the UMass Lowell uniforms, they're great kids. They're a whole bunch of people that I just found as individual people. You felt compelled to root for them. How will they approach the future? This team is generally humble, hardworking, determined, and I suspect they'll approach it that way.
Yeah, Peter Casey, the athletic director, and I talked about it, I think the Monday after, and he's like, so as you soaked it all in, I said, well, when we started getting ready to go to the plane, I said immediately my mind was on recruiting for next year. We're really pleased. I mean, the freshmen, probably men and women's cross-country recruiting classes that were freshmen this year were probably the best recruiting classes we've ever had. So we know we're in good shape for the next 3 or 4 years. Whether we can keep it rolling, I guess we'll have to see, but I know that we'll have a chance.
Next year is definitely going to be hard, losing Izzy and all the upperclassmen, but I think having such a young team is very promising for our future. So anybody's looking around UMass Lowell.